is because my retirement is you guys watching 15 minutes of my YouTube channel. I have nothing. Hello, fellas and fellas. So in my last video, I told you the 5 greatest reasons to become a professional MMA fighter, to chase that dream of UFC or Bellator or PFL gold. So now I'm going to give you a list of the reasons not to do it. And this list is way better than the list to do it. I mean, like, listen to this list. This is the list you want to pay attention to. Because I'm telling you, being an MMA fighter is not what it's cracked up to be. I mean, y'all have in your mind that we just rolling, driving our Rolls Royce and making all the money in the world and bitches be tripping all over us. It doesn't happen. Although, I did marry America's Next Top Model, so it happened for me a little bit. Now, number 5, the 5th reason you should not become a fighter. Phew. The pay structure. Now, at this point, everybody knows that almost every organization in the world, they pay you show money. That means you get into the cage. And they give you win money, meaning 3 judges say you won. This is garbage. I hate it. The first organization that comes up with a good way of paying somebody is going to attract all the fighters. No fighter will ever think he's going to lose a fight. They will never walk into that ring saying, "Oh, I think I'm going to lose." They will never do camp thinking, "Oh man, I should have said no, I'm going to lose." They convince themselves, even if on paper they're going to lose. If I was to fight Anderson Silva, I know I would win. Everyone out there knows I would lose. But I know I would. I would accept that fight as, yeah, I'm going to whoop Anderson Silva's ass. And in all likelihood, I wouldn't. He's got a set of skills that is second to none. At least prime Anderson Silva. Second to only Anderson Silva, second to only to Jake Paul. Oh, the turntables have turned. So, when you budget your life, this is the part people don't think about. When you budget your life, you budget on what you're going to win. It takes a long time and a lot of fights, a lot of confidence in yourself to not budget on when you win. To tell yourself, I'm going to win, but then to prepare your life for not winning. In doing that without psychologically messing with yourself. You have to know every day you're in practice, I'm going to crush this man. You have to know that every day in that training room, in that sauna, in that bleeding, sweating, miserable practices, I'm going to win. But if you budget in a way that thinks, well, what if I don't? You can't let the what if I don't. You just have to be mature enough adult saying, I'm going to budget for the show money. If I win, that's bonus money. It takes a lot. Like, I'm still not there. My last karate combat fight, it was for $5,000. Unless I knocked him out, then I got 15. So I went into that fight saying, I'm just going to knock him out. I need 15 grand, a lot more than I need 5. So that's what I did. But I didn't go spending all my 15 grand prior to doing it. So it's hard. So that's my number 5 reason don't become a fighter. The pay structure is garbage. You have to base your life on not knowing what you're going to make. You're either going to make half or double. Drives me nuts. All right. Reason number 4 as to why to not be a fighter. Fighters pulling out of a fight. You say, yes, I'm going to fight you, John Smith, in 6 weeks. It's going to happen. Then I go and I work my ass off for 5 weeks. I'm training as hard as I can. There's not a person in the world that's going to beat me. And then John Smith says, oh, I got, it's that time of month again. I need a Midol. I can't make the fight. I now have just spent money on a camp, trained my body for a fight, and I get nothing. And I get nothing out of it. Unless management steps in from some other fighters. Hey, I know you were going to fight, a kickboxer who was 4-3 on a 2-fight skid. I know that was the case. But I have this Dagestani wrestler, 5-0. He's sitting on the couch. He wasn't doing anything. Wink, wink at the promoter. He'll take the fight. And now I can either take this fight, this completely different fight who I did not train for, or I cannot get the fight, not even make my show money. Oh, and I'll tell you, outside of the UFC, never happened to me. In the UFC, my last damn 8 fights were all of that. Brendan Allen was on 3 days' notice. Wellington Turman was on 3 weeks' notice. So there's a little bit. Julian Marquez was on about 2 weeks' notice. Fighters getting hurt changes everything because you need to get paid. There's no insurance on if you don't fight. It's show money. It's not train money. It's show money. And that my future, my financial future depends on somebody else not getting hurt. That is reason enough to not become a fighter. It's rough. And the way management is so tied in. I mean, in every organization you can think of, management is tied in. It's amazing how often one teammate gets hurt the week of, but another teammate says, "I'll fight him." It's amazing how often that happens. It's shady stuff. But management and fighters getting injured is number 4 reason. Number 3 reason you should never become a fighter. Your future in any organization you sign with, if you can sign with an organization, is unsecure. I sign with Organization X for 4 fights. That contract says they can cut me at any time for any reason. They don't need a reason. They say, "Hey, we don't want you anymore." I could win 3 of those fights. They could cut me. I could say the wrong thing on social media. I could win boringly. I think that was what happened to Ben Askren, right? He was just boring, so UFC didn't want him or Bellator didn't want him anymore. That my entire future of fighting depends on some guy I probably never met thinking I'm worth paying. That it bothers me, and it's a hard thing to. Now you might say every job is like that. Any boss can fire you for that, except if you work at the widget factory and for whatever reason he doesn't like the cut of your jib. He says, "Sam, you're fired for making widgets." He gets less widgets that day. That guy has incentive not to fire me from his widget factory. The UFC does not. Bellator does not. PFL does not. They can say, "You know what? We're not going to pay you for this, or we don't want you to pay. We don't want to have the opportunity for you to earn money through us anymore." Boom, gone. And they say, "Hey, we're going to put this other guy in." Now, I did get to a point in my career where I was a popular enough fighter. People tuned in to watch me, so I had some pulling power. I could bring people to the screens. People wanted to see me win, or get beat, or set the new record, or whatever. People were tuning in to watch me. A lot of people. That's why I got to 8 fights. A lot of people were turning in to watch me. But for the first, 11 fights of my career, wouldn't have mattered. I was known to knock people out, so that brought maybe some eyes, but not enough eyes. They could have very easily marketed some other guy to be there. And for most fighters, you do not have that staying power because there are a lot of fighters, and fighters can be forgotten easily if you are not doing that next day. If you are not dyeing your hair like a clown, or smiling like an idiot, or saying the N-word over and over again in a title fight. That if you do not make yourself completely unforgettable in MMA, and it's hard to do, very few fighters can do it, you're not worth what they're paying you. And it's another reason not to become a fighter. Is like, if you don't strike gold, and it takes some talent, some thought, and some foresight, but it takes a lot of luck. People got to like what you do. You got to win the right way and then get that microphone and talk again. It's scary knowing that at any moment I could win a fight and still get cut. It's scary. Number 2 reason you should never become a fighter. Injuries. talked about my opponent getting hurt. In all reality, I could get hurt. I broke my jaw before fighting Safadine, some Brazilian guy. Broke my jaw, took me out of the fight. I couldn't fight for 8 months because my jaw was broken. I couldn't eat food for 6 weeks because my jaw was broken. I was supposed to fight Shogun. I forgot what hand it was. I broke my hand. Broke my hand to getting ready to fight Shogun. I was out for another 6 months. COVID hit. I was out for another 2 months. I ended up fighting Ryan Spann. Broke my hand 2 weeks before that fight. But like hell, I wasn't going to fight. I fought Ryan Spann with one broken hand, and I think I won. Injuries suck. Now, you can go a little step further. Even more than the injuries, the day-to-day stuff. Like, I have toes on my right foot that don't bend anymore. They can't, toes are supposed to be able to do that so you can bend, squat. Can't do it. And forever, I don't know. I broke it in what fight was it? Up in Canada, I fought Kevin Casey. Broke my toe. Never didn't heal right now. I have a toe that doesn't work great. When I wake up in the morning, walking down a flight of stairs, how long should it take a guy? 7 seconds? It takes me closer to 45 seconds to get down a flight of stairs because my body is so locked up. After 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I'm loose. I can do anything. After that morning little stiffness, after that, I can do whatever with anyone. I'm the most athletic person in the world. I can compete with it, but everything hurts. As soon as I stop, everything hurts. So I'm going to fight until I die. Because I know as soon as I say I'm retired, I'm not fighting anymore, my body's going to lock up and shrivel, and it's just going to be the way I can't look to the left and right. You want to do something funny? You go up to Dan Henderson, stand off to his right, and say, "Hey, Dan!" And he won't turn. His upper body will turn because his neck doesn't work anymore. You will be plagued for the rest of your life with just parts of your body that don't work. It's ridiculous. But that's what you get to look forward to when becoming a, professional fighter. The number one reason not to become a fighter. Retirement. I have none. I have no retirement. This YouTube channel is my retirement. I am so close to getting my full hours to getting monetized on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching every episode to the end. You are helping me so much. I truly am. But the number one reason that you should not become a fighter is because my retirement is you guys watching 15 minutes of my YouTube channel. I have nothing. I have a beautiful house. I have some properties. I have some stuff. I was one of the more successful fighters, and I've got a good wife, and I've made some preparations. But in all honesty, I don't have a retirement. No fighter does. And most fighters don't get 25 fights in the organization that pays you. Most fighter gets, I think, 4 is where most fighters end up being in the UFC. They get 4 fights. You have no retirement. But you spend your life trying to get there, trying to be able to have that retirement. So if you spend your life trying to do a sport where there is so much luck involved, but it is so difficult. It is so difficult to put that money away because you're always buying yourself out of debt. You spend the first part of your career just accruing debt, trying to live and pay your bills and then you get to the UFC, or you get to the good paying Bellator, then you get to the PFL, and then every paycheck you get goes to paying down your debt. Then you lose a fight, and then you win a fight, and that goes down to paying debt again, and then it's ridiculous. Eventually, if you're good enough and you win enough, you start having some actual, guaranteed money coming in, and you can start putting it aside. But it takes a long time. It takes a lot of luck. And more than anything, it takes intelligence. You need to be responsible for your money, and it is so hard to do because being a fighter is fun. You always need a new pair of gloves. You always need a new cage. I don't know cage. I don't have anywhere to put it. I own a cage. It's in my barn. Thank you guys for watching this page because it's my retirement plan. Thank you guys. I wouldn't have had a career. I wouldn't have had what I have without you guys. I appreciate everything you have done for me. And again, if you're thinking about being a fighter, but you're real good at baseball, go and play some baseball.